Is Plexo Capital's Toney. He is a CNBC contributor. It's good to see you. Welcome back. Let me just stick with Apple for a minute. Your view from where you sit of how this particular stock has traded, and maybe more so how you see it in the context of what seems to be a fast-developing trade war.
Right, and I think it was well laid out in your last conversation. I think the thought was that the ability for Tim Cook to pilgrimage down to Mar-a-Lago and achieve what he did last time. Clearly, that's not going to be the case. And so, it's well laid out, right? It's either maybe Apple can squeeze the suppliers a little bit, but I think that's probably already happened as a natural course of business. The ability for it to be subsidized by the telcos, pass it on to the consumer, or just eat it themselves. So it's going to impact someone somehow.
When you look at the bigger picture, Lo, of what appears to be a quest, if you will, for a new world order, as it relates to tech, as it relates to manufacturing, how do you think about it on the bigger scale of what that will mean and the transition and the timing that all of it will take to actually come to fruition?
Well, we've seen over the course of the past few years the look to diversify supply chains for the larger companies, whether they're tech or not. I mean, every company is almost in some ways a tech company based on the components for its products. But for tech companies in particular, there's been a move towards diversification. And we've in particular seen that with Apple, although Apple does have a large reliance on China. I think what we'll see moving forward is a continuation of the diversification, but in particular, your point about this new world order. Yeah, I think we will see some onshoring. So bringing a lot of that manufacturing back to the States, I think in particular with chips and the importance of chips, both from the competitive nature of chips, but also I think the importance that we're seeing within the context of, again, this new world order and global security. So I think we will see, a shift, but God, it's really hard to not have some of these components in other locations that have really, been able to refine the process for some of these manufacturing techniques used. So in some instances, we have a long way to go if the objective would be to bring some of that back to the States.
But I mean, there are many who believe in this administration's vision and say, why shouldn't we be manufacturing more semiconductor chips in this country? They're the lifeblood of everything. Some of the best countries, the companies in the world are American companies. Why shouldn't they be making more of these components here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I believe that as well. It's just going to take the investment to do so, which we're seeing, right? We're seeing large, massive amounts being invested. It'll take, training the workforce to be able to work within these more technical focused manufacturing processes. It'll take these more advanced manufacturing processes that involve robotics and other high-tech techniques to be able to produce these at scale at a lower cost, minimizing the human component. So I think, again, speaking within the context of this new world order, the competitiveness both for what we need to achieve as an economy within the United States, but I also don't want to minimize what I think is the importance of the ability for, this new global world order and kind of the ability for the states, the United States, to be able to play an important role, the leadership role. We're already seeing that as well with, some of the policies around AI, for example. It's very important, I believe, for the United States to maintain that competitive nature throughout the entire supply chain.